It's showtime. Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Fabian. This is Martin Francis, and we are the gurus of Roy Master's meditation exercise. Not really, but that's what I want to start with. Actually, anything we say isn't worth a whole lot unless you're objective to that knowledge. We say isn't worth a whole lot unless you're objective to the knowledge of good and evil. And so please go to YouTube, Roy Master's meditation exercise, and practice that with a good heart, and your whole life will change. So we both do that.
Practice that to acquire a good heart if you don't have one. But
yes,
wherever you're starting from, if you're starting from a state of doubt and anger and fear and anxiety and depression, and wherever you're starting from, do that meditation because it's going to, and we'll give away what it's all about. It's to show you that you are not who you think you are. You are not.
right.
You are not what you feel. You are not what's being thought through you. You're thinking, what we call our thinking. You're not these things.
Right. I wanted to lead with that because I've seen a lot of other spiritual YouTubes and people that pontificate a lot about spiritual things, but they don't share a practice that's going to really, people need help. They don't just need a bunch of preaching and words and positive things that are said. They need an actual prayer. They need a prayer without words. A lot of people in church, they pray and they talk to God all the time. And when I talked to Roy about prayer, he said that talking to God doesn't work. And I think he was right. But you can make requests from God. I know I've experienced that works, but I don't sit there and babble and talk to God, because we need to be receptive to the light and not to his talking, because he doesn't talk to us. See, that's a deception. A lot of the people in the church, and I've heard even who's taken over the foundation, Alan Masters, talk about the that God talks to us in our heart. I hear that a lot from other ministers, and it's a lie. It's a total lie. And anybody observant of the bad that's in them knows that it talks to us in our head, but then it switches over and it talks good things. So that's like the knowledge of good and evil. It talks in our head, and it's very seductive. Like, it's almost like we want to latch onto the words because it's solid, but that's not faith. That's not faith, and it's a liar, because it also creates doubt, and it will say things about God and Jesus like, oh my God, where did that come from? It's horror. It's a horror. It'll change just like that on a dime.
Everybody's hand up. Everybody put a hand up out in the audience. Who has an endless word stream flowing in their head? Me. It rarely shuts up. It rarely stops talking, and it's always trying to. Sometimes it'll take on, like we said in the last live stream. It will take on both sides of an argument.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird, and it gives you lots of choices, and it gives you it just keeps your mind busy with all kind of descriptions, and like you'll see that beautiful flowers behind me. Okay, you see them, you notice them, and you're amazed by them, but there's also, if you notice, there's also like thoughts coming in describing what you're seeing, or telling you, or using the words like, oh, that's beautiful. You'll actually hear those words, oh, that's beautiful. And that is the enemy. That's the enemy speaking to you.
It's the intellect, but it acts like us, because in the same, watch it, like it'll do that, and then the next thing it'll say something evil about Jesus. Literally. I mean,
literally. It's Fabian. It's so dumb. Sometimes it'll say gobbledygook. It'll put words together that are not a sentence at all.
Right.
It's that happens rare because it knows I'm watching it. But it was a couple days ago. It actually did that, and I'm like, why do I believe this? Why do I believe my word stream about anything if it acts so retarded? Sometimes it'll just play music. That's rare now. That's more rare. But in the previous days of my 2 years of meditation, it would just musical tunes coming out of nowhere.
Oh yeah. I had a song playing today a little bit that I heard from somewhere, and I don't even listen to music, but it comes, sometimes there'll be music in a video or something like that. But the thing is, we want intuition, we want understanding like we had when we were a kid, but it's not solid like knowledge. The knowledge of good and evil words in our head is like something we can remember and latch onto, and it feels like solid, but it's not good, because the intuition comes when you need it, but you don't remember it, even though the intellect will try to get you to remember it. It'll try to hijack it. But intuition then becomes knowledge. Like then you can be so connected to intuition that then you know God, like you know about God. I guess that's a good type of knowledge because it came from intuition, and it's not attached to a bunch of words in your head.
I'm at Walmart, and these little young children are in the shopping carts, and I'll look at them and they'll look at me, and they're just looking at me. They are doing what we're trying to do with the meditation. They're just observing. They have no judgment. They're too young to have any judgments. They don't have any thought streams going through their head.
Right.
They're just pure observing you without shame.
Right. Because there is no judgment. Yeah.
Right. And that's where we're trying. That's where I'm trying to get to. But guess what stands in the way?
Well, it's just the alternative, the alter ego, the demon self. That's all. I mean,
yeah. That doesn't like to be shown up. It doesn't like to be wrong. It doesn't like to not be able to convince people of something. Have you ever gotten an argument and or a disagreement? Let's just say a disagreement. And you find yourself taking an argumentative attitude because you're trying to convince. And you're not just innocently responding back to their difference of opinion or difference of facts. You're actually trying your best to convince them. And I heard some guru, it must have been Roy Masters, because I don't listen to the Swamis and those guys. They sound too intellectual to me.
Yeah, they do.
And he's like,
excuse me.
He's like, oh man, I forgot my train of thought. Getting old sucks. Getting old is terrible. But he had a nice, sagely piece of advice for people who kind of take their observation by habit. I mean, we're doing this by habit. We observe, like I just started to observe myself speaking. Something caused me to observe myself while I'm speaking, and it's a cool thing because you're not trying to actually convince anybody. You're just, because that can get aggravating if someone won't be convinced and you're putting forth what you consider the best arguments. You're jacking them on all the arguments, pow, pow, all the counter arguments that you have, the counter punching and the jab and of truth and that kind of thing, and yet they don't fall down. It doesn't convince them. You're not winning, and that causes frustration. And because you are trying to do something that you're not supposed to be trying to do.
Right. Well, that's why that ties into the first part of the title, persistence versus obsession, because I've
Ah,
been I've been pretty persistent with well, like the subject of how Trump has betrayed us with the clot shots and lying about it, while millions are being killed and literally excess deaths are out of the roof. And they're just like insanely young kids. 6 pilots died last month. So I persist on that
read this, Fabian.
because yeah, I saw that over 100 million Americans think the COVID-19 vaccines is killing large numbers of people, because it is, and people are witnessing it. So is it an obsession because daily I keep up on it with doctors who are keeping up on it, or is it a caring? Like I care about. I don't know how people could not actually keep up with it, but the difference between that and an obsession is an obsession is that's a really strong word. And I've been accused of that by Alan Masters and some of the people who submit to him his bad spirit that he projects on his show. Unfortunately, they've
Yeah.
called me a lot of things, but obsession is a very, very negative, dark term, because to be obsession leads to murder, actually, often. So someone who is, you can tell if they're obsessed, and you know, their whole attitude is aggressive. It's kind of nuts, and that's not how I portray myself. I actually care that there's a genocide agenda that's actually happening, and I'm not. If you're going to be standing up for good and God, you don't just do it once and let it go while the aggressor and Satan is continuing on his warfare. That's insane. I mean,
The
that's very
only
weak.
You send me stuff almost every day, either about Ukraine. This is your two favorites, either Ukraine or the kill shot, something related to that, and of course the great Donald Trump's denial of it, and I don't go looking for it myself. I am tuned in to these people. See, that's why I got
Hmm.
their emails, but they give a lot of information because they're trying to convince people who need a lot of information to be convinced. But to sit there and go over it, and then it's not a pleasant thing. So, being a guy who looks for pleasant things, I don't draw to that, and it bugs me to see these people suffering. Then the videos you send of teenagers and young adults who took this stuff and their life is just ruined if they're not dead.
Yeah,
And it's just horrible to see that, especially day by day.
I
Damn.
just I just keep up with it. Yeah, it's a horror. It's an absolute unforeseen, ever worldwide kill off that's unbelievable. And I'm only doing it because it needs to be done. And there's a massive brainwashing campaign that doesn't stop.
And I
So
believe, and I believe you are the only one who continuously um, ties Donald Trump into the clot shots. These guys, Steve Kirsch, he will not do it. The guy I just showed, the 100 million, he will not do it. The doctors will not do it. Really, it's come down to you.
oh no,
I don't
there's
know.
others that
Oh,
there's
David Knight.
excuse me. Yeah, there's some others that do it, but
Isn't he on Rumble?
the
I
weird
can count them
yeah,
on the palm of my hand.
but the strange thing is too, there's this that his YouTube channel is 45 something, and he's a Christian dude, and he puts up things daily which he shows biblically how Donald Trump fits the personality traits of the Antichrist. I don't know if it's true. It does appear to be true, but even he won't even touch the clot shots. Like the biggest lie that Trump is doing, and even he won't touch it, which is really weird.
What? What? Back up. What? Are you saying David Knight
No, not David Knight, the
Oh,
45, Trump
oh, that
45,
guy,
whatever,
that guy. Yeah,
the
yeah.
Antichrist. And he won't touch it. And there's another one that's really good.
I
I
wonder
forgot
why
his
he
name.
won't touch
He
it.
doesn't touch it either. I think they're all scared of getting deleted from their platforms, maybe.
Or just lots of people. No, no, that they wouldn't worry. They wouldn't be worried about Trump supporters because their thing about Trump being Antichrist. Trump, what is it called? Trump 45 or something like that.
Yeah, it's 45. Let me see. Let me look it up here. Well, I can put a link to it in the description after the show is saved because he does present a really good case. It's just I don't. It's just
But he
strange.
backs away from the when you give him information about the kill shot and stuff, and he doesn't want to discuss it or talk about it. That's
No,
like a key fact of whether
I
he
know,
is capable of being the Antichrist. I think he is,
and
be-
he
just
did.
because of him pushing this
Oh
thing that
yeah,
100 million people now
no,
are hip to, and he's still lying to us face. He's
yeah.
lying to 100 million people to their face.
I think
People,
that see that's another reason I'm persistent because I don't. It's not that I hate Trump and I want Biden to win. I don't want either of them to win, but it's not going to matter. We're in end times. We're almost about to start the 3.5 years of the second half of Revelation. The first already started with clot shots worldwide takeover, took over all the governments of all the world, just like it describes the white horsemen, I believe, or part of Revelation that says that it would conquer all the nations. That part conquered all the nations. It literally did. It's just so clear. I mean, a lot of people see it. So this whole notion that we're going to save America, America doesn't deserve to be saved. I'm trying to help save people from America and from the demonic world the best I can. I mean, I'm a very small voice, but that's our duty, right?
right?
To think that we're going to save America, that's a whole faith and a whole that ship has sailed, and it's a lost
I like that expression.
it's a lost idea because they're not really aware of the time we're in. Like I heard Jan Masters on the FHU radio. She said that don't lose hope, in America. No, America deserves to get her butt kicked. Like America has been the number one propagator of worldwide porn, huge abortion, like all nations, but we've been the biggest propagator of horrible.
LGBTQ.
We're number one in the clot shots to manufacturing, propagating in the world. We don't deserve to save America. Are you crazy? America needs to be. It's a wrong kind of idea at this point. Yeah, I mean, earlier, yeah, for sure. You do what you, and I'm still going to vote conservative, but I'm not blinded by an ambition to save America, which is rooted in a lack of spirituality. It really is. Because talk to any of these Trump bots about it, and your ass will be grass. I mean, you will be banned. You will for what? I mean, they're acting like leftists because they're so attached to the world. It's a love of the world. They don't realize that it is actually a love of the world and of approval of themselves. And that's what I told Alan Masters. You guys are afraid to stand up to each other. You need each other as pals and friends. And that's why nobody stands against anybody on the Trump thing at all. They all, and that's so immature.
Amen. That's pitiful.
It's very unlike what Roy would stand against anybody at any time when he saw it. I mean, he was wrong at times, like with Jesse Peterson, but when he saw it, he said he explained he expressed a regret for every help for getting him going because he saw how Jesse had turned so bad.
Jesse was so smart at what he was saying and what he understood. He would Jesse, did I say Jesse? Roy Masters was so
Roy,
smart at what he was doing, at what he was teaching, that he flat out, from time to time, he would offer the um, the challenge to any pastor or any psychiatrist to come on and challenge him about what he's saying, about anything about what he's saying.
Hmm.
And I think he got maybe one or two psychiatrists who actually just called him because they agreed with him. But I don't know. I don't remember of anybody having anybody calling up to give him a serious debate. Pastors or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't either. Yeah, because they were afraid of him. I think the spirit, afraid of his spirit. He was the best talk radio show in history ever, ever.
Just because of what he was teaching.
Yeah.
Not that not to mention his great personality. Um, you can tell he wasn't never ever trying to I don't know, put on an air of personality or anything. The personality he had was like from a built-in toughness. Um,
Yeah.
Toughness, able to take shots to his ego and not express it or cry about it or take revenge because you made him look bad. First of all, it's very difficult to make him look bad um, because he was willing to look bad. He was willing to be wrong, but he knew he wasn't, and it just, man,
Yeah.
he
When we
he even got on these different news programs, news shows and interview shows and stuff where they had a lot of angry people try to go after him.
Oh yeah. He
And
he and he handled it perfectly.
yeah, yeah, he handled it well. Sure did.
Yeah, it's too bad he's not around in these last several years. So much is going to happen, but um, I know he's doing some amazing things in heaven. I can't even imagine, you know.
I would never say something like that. Doing some amazing things. What? He's
Oh,
relaxing. There's nothing to do in heaven. You just
there's all kinds of stuff happening in heaven. There's all kind. We have no idea.
okay. You do have no idea. So why do you think there's all kind of stuff? I'm just as wrong as thinking there's nothing going on.
I mean, when I say we have no idea, I don't know. Like, I haven't been there, but I know from some of these reports from people who have been there and come back that sound very credible. It makes a lot of sense that there's a
They're watching.
whole different whole world of things happening. Of it just, I don't know. I haven't been there, but I know that heaven is way beyond earth. It's like hell and heaven. Like, this is just the prelude to that whole other forever world. So of course there's a lot of things going on, a lot of duties, a lot of just all kind. There has to be. I mean, what like the intellect kind of will give us ideas. Oh, what, we're just floating in the clouds and there's nothing to do. Oh my gosh, it's like that's why I say we have no idea, because I guess we don't. I have a little bit of an idea, but because I did have a heavenly visitation, and it gave me a little taste of heaven, and it was intense. It was.
Well, I had a visitation from hell, and that was intense too.
Oh, I've had that too. Yeah.
In fact, I never experienced a hatred from anybody as deep and as vicious and as wow. It blew me away. Many times more serious of a hate than can even be. Wow. And I got that from just a few seconds of him dealing with me.
Who's dealing?
This satanic spirit that was behind me while I was laying down,
Oh,
and my
yeah.
body froze. I wanted to see who it was, what it looked like, but my body I couldn't move. I could not move. That was but how it spoke to me. And it really wasn't using words. It was like, remember that movie 30 Days of Night, where about those vampires?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, these vampires were like, oh my gosh, the worst vampires you've ever seen in any vampire movie. They were, and when they spoke to each other like hellish demons. They didn't use words. They just like,
Uh-huh.
like that. And it kind of reminded me of that demon. It really didn't speak any words. It was just like, it just screamed at me
Yeah.
without a word. It was just, oh man, terrible,
Yeah.
terrible.
I used to get visitations from a being of light into my room late at night, and my eyes were closed. I was too scared to open my eyes, and it was like there was a jet engine in my room, that kind of energy, but without the sound, but the light, incredible light, and this force. And it went over my body. It would stay for maybe 30 seconds, a minute, and then it would leave. And then I was like, oh my God. Like, and it happened like multiple times. Like, it was intense,
Were
man.
you frozen with fear or what?
I didn't feel afraid. I felt like it was more like I was in awe, and I didn't dare open my eyes. Like, but it
No
was
way.
no way. It was like intense, but it was a demon. It was acting like an angel of light.
Oh, wow. How did you
Yeah.
discern that?
Because it kept coming back, and it didn't leave me with any feeling of love or peace. And the last time it happened, I sat up in my bed, and I was in tears. It was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening, like. And finally it dawned on me what was happening. And when I finally realized it, and I think probably I was getting calmer too, that it stopped coming. Yeah. But it was like unbelievable. Like, um and the weird thing, this should have warned me. I know this is going to sound weird, but I should have known from this that it gave me an idea also, why I finally understood that it was a demon, because it gave me an idea of like, I'm something special, like I'm getting these visitations from heaven. Wow, I'm somebody really, like I could be a prophet or something. Who knows, like what
Wow.
that's was its theme, without words. That was what it was infusing.
Without words, everybody understand that without
Yeah,
words.
it was
You can be
infusing me.
communicated to without words.
It was infusing me with that idea, because it meshed with the demon that was in me. And then when it would come over my body, I started to get a sexual, like, erection, like when it would come. So, like, wait a minute, if it's an angel, that's not going to happen. Or if it's Jesus, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But that was weird. And also it infused my body with like, I felt like it wasn't my mind. I didn't feel high in my mind, but it felt like a narcotic feeling over my body, like
Oh,
an
weird.
actual narcotic. Yeah.
Right, right.
It
You
was
felt
that.
a little something in your body because of it?
Yeah. I felt numbing, and
Oh, interesting.
it was like a vibrating force, and it felt, yeah, because, and it makes sense, because Satan is the author of narcotics, of people getting high, of getting all that. Although, I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, because there is a good use for narcotics, like in operations and stuff. So
Sure,
maybe he's not the author of it, but he twists it, and of course, he uses it for his purposes.
sure. Dang.
But that happened about 5 or 6 times until I finally snapped out of it, like, oh my gosh, I'm being fooled here. Which tells me that somehow I think Satan really wanted me pretty bad. He wants anybody a brightness. It's a big prize to get our souls, but if he could have kept fooling me, he could have really made me lose any kind of salvation, possibly. Or if he could have killed me, that would have been better for him. He tried pretty hard, but thank God. My persistence in good and persistence in the meditation stopped that from happening. I
Yeah,
persisted.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
persisted. I never stopped meditating, even though I was trying to run from God. I still kept on meditating, and it's panned out.
That's such a happy ending to the story. Same here. I mean, just last week, I was going through, and I think I discussed it on Sunday. Um, I was going through all kind of depression and anger and all kind of stuff. But I still kept doing the meditation, and here I am on the other side, as if it never happened. Um, I'm 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 a newborn right now today with the concept of, ever since you mentioned to me about, oh, I don't want to sit in front of the computer because that's you, um, taking on the desires and the anger of the demon within you that doesn't want to sit in front of the computers and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and since then, I have I have what that knowing that, even if it's just knowledge, just knowing that, and then uh, understanding what suffering is all about. Um, because we don't want to suffer. We pray to be healed of our sickness and this kind of stuff, and we pray for bad times to finally end, and that kind of thing, because there's only so much we can take, it seems, before we blow up, before we get angry or we lose faith. And I want to I want to be a champion when it comes to that. When it comes to just being able to suffer, whether it's just disappointment or frustration and all that kind of stuff. That's just sometimes I'll be in a state of mind where I'm like, I ask God, "Are you like a narcissist or something, or what would it be
Oh,
called?
excuse me.
Are you like some kind of suffering
Ma-
hate, suffering
mas- masochist?
masochist?" That was the word that came out of my mind. Are you some kind of masochist? You want to see us suffering all the time? I mean, what's the deal here? And
No,
then I go,
it's our
and then,
impatience that causes the suffering,
yeah, but
mostly.
there is a suffering that righteous people go through,
Oh yeah,
and
but
and
that
that
can be a joy too.
it is. Those damn apostles, they were singing in prison while they were,
Yeah,
or while they were being held in prison. They were singing and converting the guards and all that kind of stuff.
right. Yeah, because when I've seen people turn against me, and the people around here, the kind of people who are not really waking up, they're kind of stuck, some of them, and they attacked me left and right. And one dude just like, oh my God, he's on this that spiritual one guy. Like he even posted something on my invention YouTube, and it was like trolling on there. And it's like, wow, this guy is like, talk about obsession, um,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know, but when with all these people going against me, and like I just, it brings me more, I feel, I sense, like you can sense more love actually from God that way, because it separates you from the world. It's what it does.
Nice way to look at it. I just wish that the knowledge hardly ever helps me, but it
Right.
does remind me after the fact. Like, okay, let's say after I get off this radio show, I'll experience some physical pain because of my cancer, and I'll be like in a pissy attitude about it, and, um,
Really?
as if, no, I'm just saying that this, if it does occur, like say
Oh,
after show, because it's occurred before, and
excuse
um,
me.
there's two things to fight back, two pieces of knowledge that don't really help you in the moment. Um, you just have to have that grace already,
Right.
but you can't have an intellectually bad attitude about, or the grace won't come to you. You can't have an intellectually bad attitude about any kind of suffering you go through, any kind. And
Right.
um, that's been like a problem with me, a stumbling block for me.
Well, if we really see that we've caught our own selfishness and lack of love of God has caused our suffering, I mean, we have to see that. Um,
Yeah.
I know that's the case with me when I was going through my depression, all this stuff. I mean, it's all demonic, but I went along with it. I fully fed it. My weakness agreed with it for a while. So how could I, when I stopped being frustrated, resenting, I don't know, I don't even think I resented myself about it. I was just all depressed and sad. But there's no, um, it, yeah, you have to, because if you get irritated at all at your suffering, which you have gone along with, you've had so much pleasure going along with it all. Now the demon is trying to finish you off. So if you are irritated with its results, it could stop the healing actually, because it's, in a way, it's you saying, "Oh man, I don't deserve this," sort of.
No, I'm more of a spoiled brat than that. It's like I just don't want to go through it. Right?
Okay,
I want to
but
have
you don't
peace.
have a choice.
And that's another irritation. I don't have a choice. I've got to go
But that
through this.
but that irritation could stop the healing. I mean,
Well, right. But it
yeah.
just seems embedded in me. Like, okay, let me just do like what's that game where you take the organs out of people and if you touch the sides,
Oh, that's pretty
Operation.
gross.
I think it was
Oh,
called
really?
Operation. Yeah, there was this. You would take either the bone out or the heart or
Ooh.
whatever, and um, I don't know why I'm using that to tie into some. There, my mind goes again.
Well, maybe you need to ask, just simply make a request for God to help you so that you can deal with all gracefully, so He can heal you, because it's going to be hard if you have any resistance. Resistance as in like being annoyed at the result of what
Here,
you've
here's
done with your life. It's how's He going to heal? How's He
here's
going to
my
fully heal you?
right. Here's my hypocrisy. I love reading about Navy SEALs
Yeah, me
or
too.
Christian men um, who've gone through hell and have come out the other end, or
Uh-huh.
athletes who have suffered in their training to be the best or whatever. But uh, and yet when it comes my turn to do it, I'm like, I'm not too excited about that.
Well, because it's been thrust upon you. You haven't chosen it. The evil has put it on you now, and it's a result of all that years of being lost in the pleasure and escape. So you haven't, it's like when you're an athlete or training or doing good, you've chosen it and you're in daily, you go through it, but it's been just put on you, and now you have to deal with it. Um,
Oh, that sounds so kind.
well, I mean, you
But
don't have a choice. You don't have either.
I do have a choice. I can check out. I can stop the meditation. I can go on drugs.
No,
I
no,
do
I
have
mean,
a choice.
no, I mean, you don't have a choice, that it's with you and that's it. That there's no choice. It's there. But yeah, you have a choice in how you deal with it, of course.
Man, I just want to get that separation. That would be so cool. But that means all I'm trying to get the separation and have the grace is so I can avoid the suffering. Because
No, just
because like you said, it's if you have that grace, it doesn't even seem like suffering.
right, because the
I'm not
sting.
getting all emotional about my suffering.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
even if you, like, even if you ended up dying, you would do it with grace and just pray that God accepts you, and that's that. It's
Yeah.
just, you do it nobly, like you're a wounded body now, because you have been kind of wounded in Satan's warfare, but it's a warfare of pleasure, not of standing up for good. But it's still he's still assaulting you. But
Well, I was a hypocritical soldier for Satan, and this is what I get. This is his reward for me serving
Right.
him.
Right. But
It's cancer and doubt and fear and worry and anger and all kind of hellish feelings and crap. And then I look at God and I go, yeah, you happy with this? I'm suffering, trying to complain to
well,
him, and yet
he,
suffering.
he hasn't
There
caused
is
any of it.
there's no way around it.
He hasn't caused any of it. I mean,
By allowing it, I say he's caused it, not directly, but
no, he hasn't. He allows it, but
I
he
needed
hasn't.
it. See, that's another thing. I complain
Oh,
about
okay.
it, but on the other hand, I know I need it. I got to go through the suffering of my sin and all that stuff. I know it, but it's like when it comes down to the moment, it's like, oh, I was just kidding. I really, I really don't want to suffer. I really don't want to, go through this. And God's the reason why I'm still in this. And so let me blame
Well,
Him.
that's all the devil's thoughts. It's not
Yeah,
you.
it is. It is.
Yeah, he just wants to cast the blame on God. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all he does. That's his whole thing. Like, turn us against God. Yeah, that's one thing that makes me really like cling to being more and more objective, because I don't like having any doubt and animosity thoughts to God. And if ever they come up, I just look at them out of existence. I let them, and then they fade away, because that to me is a horror. That's just the worst. Because if you lose an awareness and a belief in of God, there's nothing more horrible than that, really.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, there was a period of time. Oh wow, was it a month ago or something where I was feeling more pain than I'm feeling today, and I like had a grace inside me where I was just it was no big deal, and I kind of understood that you can't be emotional or angry that you have a physical discomfort or a physical pain, and you can't force yourself not to, but it's nice to be in that state of grace where it's not a big deal in the sense that you're getting all emotional and angry about it.
Right.
You
But
know,
you will have that exists every time you're not in your head. I mean, that's there. I notice that with me. Like, if I'm really not partaking in talking to myself or going along with any imagining the thought stream, I'm just in a zone. I'm like,
yes, in the
nothing
zone.
nothing can bother you. But you
And you,
feel kind of stupid too, but that's good. So just keep on returning to that, and then you'll get more and more, less and less irritated and more objective to it all, and then it'll all just go away. Because I think your little bit of resistance is keeping it from healing, maybe more than the carbs. I don't know, probably both.
well, the resistance to, I don't know. I just these damn thoughts. They can fuel me to get all um, un, ungrateful or whatever. I start believing them, and things can go south really quick.
Right. So why not, when you get them, just
Oh,
see them.
sometimes it's yeah, Fabian. Sometimes it is easy.
Oh,
Sometimes it's easy. I'm just these thoughts. I'm like, wow, look at those things. When they're not that threatening. Wow, look at, or it'll be a thought that talks to me about the flowers or something. Now that's not a real threat, but a thought that I want to. I'm hungry and I want to eat some carbs. That's a threat. That's not just a thought about how beautiful the flowers are. And, and,
right.
and so
Well,
And so, yeah, I can let those certain kind of thoughts go by all day long, but then there's other thoughts that seem to, have a closer connection to my soul, and and
Uh-huh.
and I take on that desire that's given me.
Well, yeah, there were times where, like when I was married, and there's been times after where I'll get like an imagination thought, because imaginations are like thoughts too, but they come in a video format or a picture.
Yes, yes.
So I would get that of the naked body, to get into my wife. Um, and I would just look at it like very, like just immediately dismiss it. And sometimes I would actually say, no, thank you. Like, no, thank you, Satan. And it just went away. And
Wow, that's
so
cool.
maybe when you get these ideas of food that's going to kill you, just say, no, thank you. I don't know. Maybe it
Well, I've
might.
been doing it without all that drama. I mean, at the restaurant today, when you and I and Patrick Rooney sat down to eat, I could have went over. I could have grabbed those chips that the Mexican restaurants always put out for you, and these are exceptional chips and exceptional dips, the bean dip and that salsa dip.
Yeah.
My goodness,
I
and
didn't I didn't have very many of them either.
it's
I mean,
it's
you
it's
didn't have any, but yeah.
yeah, and it wasn't like I was trying to look good in front of you and Patrick by having that. I just know that I need to be serious about this,
Right.
but not with resentment fueling my seriousness, not with anger fueling my seriousness, but
Right.
um, just
It's just the right thing to do.
just a willingness to suffer.
Yeah, and it's a pretty mild suffering because you had some really nice food there that you were able to eat. So
Isn't that true? Yeah.
that's not much suffering, really.
Yes.
That's I wouldn't even call that suffering. It's just you're dismissing an extra pleasure, really.
It didn't seem like suffering at the time when I was sitting
Yeah.
at the table either. But
Uh-huh.
at other times it does. And I don't know if that's going to hold true from now on, but at least at the restaurant, that was like a beautiful thing where there was no real mental effort to refuse it. I just
Well,
I just knew that the chips weren't there, and for some reason I have more of a better attitude toward putting up with not being able to get what I want.
oh yeah. Well, that'll get more and more of a habit, of a the more we do good, the easier it is. It's like meditating, right? When I
Yeah.
sit and meditate, there's no question I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. I'm not going to go on my phone, and stuff. I'm going to sit still after I wash my face. And the same thing last thing at night. There's no, it's just, I guess it's a habit, but it's not like mechanical. It's just that I know it's good, and the right thing. That's all.
Yeah, well, I bought a recliner today. You helped me take it up to my apartment. And that recliner is like a perfect meditation chair. I can't wait to use it.
Yeah.
'Cause normally I sit up in bed and it's just like I'm spending too much time in bed with the meditation and sleeping. And I want to at least sit up in a chair where my feet are flat on the floor. And that recliner puts me back in because of my bad posture. The recliner puts me back in an angle where it takes, like if I try to sit up straight, it kind of like it's an effort to sit up straight and have my posture perfect is an effort. But if you're in the recliner chair, it just goes back and then your head comes forward just a little bit and it takes the pressure off and it makes it more of a relaxing meditation, at least physically.
Yeah.
Because when I'm sitting in these straight back chairs that I have now, it's a lot more physical discomfort.
You didn't go to Walmart yet, did you, to get a little shampooer for that?
I did, but there's so many choices. I was baffled by them all.
There
And
should be a handheld one, like a mini one that's made for upholstery.
no, I didn't see any that
Really?
small.
Oh,
Yeah.
may have to go to
So
another.
why don't
Fred,
you go to the Walmart near you and find it and send a picture to me
yeah,
if
because
you
that would
can?
be, ideal. Yeah.
Right. Because I looked at all men, they had a lot of choices, but I
Yeah,
really
because
didn't see one that was that small. So,
something like that you buy, yeah, the secondhand store, it probably has all kinds of critters inside that you want to get them taken out.
yeah.
I mean, it looks decent, but
I was
it's,
just going to throw a sheet over it.
oh yeah, you could do that, huh? Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's been 50 minutes and I don't really have much else to say. We could go on a Trump bashing little thing here, but what's the use? We do it every time.
Shall we take a break?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, but I want to say at least one thing.
Uh-huh.
People, do not take this next round of shots. Do not. Come on now. Okay, 80% of the world took it, 70% of the world. Do not fall victim to that again, because, and do not fall victim to the businesses closing and all that stuff. Raise some hell, because this is just
Oh
not,
yeah,
this is not right. But it's coming again. They're already
I-
prepping us for another pandemic. So please
well,
do not take those damn shots.
yeah. I think most people that would be watching us would not at all. But it's good to, yeah. I mean, you got to have your head in the, where to at this point to take anything like that. But yeah, it's just I don't know. There's going to be a lot happening, so I'm going to watch that debate tomorrow night. Not rooting for either one. They're both wicked, and I know we're in end times, and it makes no difference. And actually, it does. Well, in a way, it makes a difference because the world controllers they're getting ready to take over the whole world, and I do believe they want Trump. I think Trump's their man. I think Satan is going to actually enter Trump, just like it says in I think it's in Revelations. He enters the Antichrist, and it looks like it's Trump. So
Right.
he's going to have some amazing powers coming up. If not him, it's going to be someone else, but it does look like it's him.
Hey, don't forget the two witnesses.
Yeah, they're going to be awesome. I hope. I mean, they're going to be
There would be no mistaking them.
right. Yeah, they should come about by March, because March 2025 lands us 3.5 years of the last. It already started.
Yes.
21.
Yes.
And then so I'm sure we're gonna it's gonna get incredible. Then you won't have to people when then it's gonna be so clear to it seems like even the Trump bots, it's gonna be clear what's going on. I don't know how far down the road we're gonna have to go into the end of Revelations to people to realize, oh my God, I've been fooled. I don't know, but it's going to get hairy, really crazy.
I want to see what the two witnesses think about meditation and speaking prayer and all that. I got some questions for them. As soon as I figure out where their location is, I'm going to get in my truck and drive there.
Oh, I bet you they'll be promoting it and talk. Yeah, they're not going to be like these religious hypocrites that won't talk about Roy Masters. They're not going to be like that. No
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Fantastic times are coming. And for everybody out there too, before we leave, make sure you have some serious preparations going on, because I and a lot of experts believe there's going to be some bad event coming in the fall before the elections, maybe even the end of summer. So food shortage, bank crisis, whatever. So be
Well,
prepared.
well, yeah, the food shortage is in Revelation, so we need to have a stockpile of food.
Yeah.
And that survival food, it may not be the healthiest, but it'll last for years. And may have to just use that for a while, because when the mark of the beast comes about, it's a lot of people are going to won't be
Oh,
able to shop.
the mark of the beast. You're talking about Elon Musk, Neuralink.
I don't know if that's it, but we won't be able to shop.
That's it.
I don't know how we'll be able to get into the. No, I don't think it's Neuralink. How are they going to Neuralink all 8
But it
billion people.
says don't take the mark. And it's the forehead, and that's exactly where the Neuralink wants to go
Oh,
in the
they're not
forehead.
going to be able to operate on all these people, Martin. Come on. I mean, that's not. It
Mhm.
makes more sense that these clot shots were actually the mark, because there's a lot of pointers that. But that's good. Maybe we should do a whole video about that.
Okay.
Right now, you got Egypt behind you. You got the pyramids. That looks pretty cool. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to end it. Yeah, and I'm going to save it to my regular video, so that'll take a little bit of work. I better
Okay, great.
go on that.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. We'll see you
Thanks for
later.
the invite. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Ends.